What happens when the city that wants to find value for money becomes the symbol of excess? Las Vegas, once the land of $1 shrimp cocktails, free parking, and cheap buffets that fed millions of dreamers, now charges resort fees higher than a small hotel room in another city. A place that used to promise luxury at a price everyone could afford is suddenly being questioned by its own visitors. Is Vegas still worth it? The neon lights still glow as bright as ever. The strip still hums with energy, music, and the sound of slot machines spinning coins, though most don't use coins anymore. But beneath that dazzling facade, the math no longer adds up. Hotel rooms that once cost $49 a night now push $300. Cocktails hit $28 before tip. A weekend getaway, once a working-class fantasy, now feels like an elite indulgence. Locals feel it too. Vegas used to be the reward, one longtime bartender told us. Now it's the punishment for not checking your bill. It's a bitter joke that hides a deeper truth. The city that built its fame on generosity has priced out the very people who made it legendary. In 2025, Las Vegas finds itself at a crossroads. The crowds are thinner, the smiles are fewer, and the promise that everyone can be a high roller has quietly faded behind fine print and fees. Yet, even in decline, Vegas has a strange power. It seduces with nostalgia, with the memory of Sinatra's swagger, Elvis's charm, and the thrill of one lucky spin. But nostalgia can't pay the bills. So the question remains, has Vegas finally lost its magic? Or can it reinvent itself before the lights go out?
They call it the entertainment capital of the world. But in 2025, entertainment comes with a fine print. And in Vegas, that fine print is getting smaller and more expensive. Let's start with the most basic thing, a hotel room. A few years ago, you could find a comfortable stay on the Strip for under $100 a night. Today, even the so-called budget resorts push past $200 before taxes and resort fees. Those resort fees, originally meant to cover amenities like Wi-Fi and gym access, now average $45 a night, mandatory, non-refundable, and often for services guests never use. And then there's parking, once proudly free as part of the Vegas charm. MGM Resorts and Caesars Entertainment now charge between $15 and $30 per day just to park. Add in service fees, venue restoration fees, and even energy surcharges, and suddenly that $99 room turns into a $250 bill before you've even stepped outside. But the hidden costs don't stop at hotels. A cocktail that cost $10 in 2010 now sells for $28. A simple buffet? Many of them have disappeared entirely, replaced by fine dining experiences that promise curated luxury but deliver smaller portions at triple the price. And when visitors finally hit the casinos, they're greeted with another quiet shift. Odds have changed. Table minimums have climbed. Slot payouts have tightened. The chance to win big feels more like a corporate slogan than reality. For decades, Vegas operated on a simple principle: keep prices low, keep people gambling. But as corporate consolidation took over the Strip, MGM, Caesars, Wynn, the model changed. Today, Vegas doesn't just make money from gamblers, it squeezes every corner of the tourist experience. Food, drink, parking, entertainment, all turned into revenue streams for shareholders. The irony is painful. The city that once sold value has become addicted to fees. Visitors no longer brag about how cheap Vegas was. They complain about how every smile now comes with a surcharge. And yet, despite the growing frustration, planes still land. Tourists still come. Why? Because Vegas sells something deeper than discounts. It sells the illusion of escape, the dream that for one weekend you can live larger than life. But when the illusion becomes too expensive, the dream cracks. The cracks are showing now, in occupancy rates, in empty slot floors, and in online reviews that say it all. Vegas isn't fun anymore. It's just expensive.
Las Vegas has always danced on the line between luxury and accessibility.
It was the one place in America where a school teacher, a mechanic, or a nurse could live like royalty for a weekend. A suite with a strip view, a fine steak dinner, a night show, all within reach. That balance was what made Vegas unique. But in 2025, that balance has snapped. To understand why, you have to look at who controls the Strip. Three giants, MGM Resorts, Caesars Entertainment, and Wynn Resorts, now own over 60% of hotel rooms on Las Vegas Boulevard. That's not competition, that's a cartel of convenience, quietly reshaping the market into a monopoly of luxury. During the pandemic recovery years, hotels lost billions. They responded not by rebuilding trust, but by rebuilding profit margins. Rooms were rebranded as premium experiences, with price hikes disguised as upgrades. A standard room became deluxe, a buffet became gourmet dining, and every exclusive offer carried new layers of fees. It's not just inflation, it's a calculated redesign of Vegas's identity. Executives claim the changes are about sustainability. In truth, it's about yield, how much money each visitor can generate before they check out. Internal data leaked from a hospitality report showed the shift clearly. In 2010, the average Vegas tourist spent $300 a day. By 2024, that number had doubled to $620, while average trip length dropped from 4 nights to 2. Vegas now earns more from fewer guests, but each guest leaves feeling poorer. And that's the real risk. Because Vegas isn't Disneyland. Its entire economy depends on repeat visitors, people who come back not just for a show, but for the feeling of freedom. Strip away that feeling, and the lights start to dim. Even investors are noticing. Caesars Entertainment, still struggling under more than $12 billion in debt, continues to raise prices to please shareholders. MGM, meanwhile, cuts staff and automates service to save costs. Self-check-in kiosks, robot bartenders, even digital dealers. What was once hospitality now feels transactional. Guests are no longer welcomed, they're processed. The irony is that Vegas calls itself luxury, but true luxury isn't about charging more, it's about giving more. When every drink, every towel, every smile has a price tag, the illusion collapses. Still, hotel executives remain confident. They point to concerts by Adele and residencies by U2 as proof that the city still shines. And yes, on the surface, the lights haven't dimmed. The fountains still dance, and the screens still dazzle. But ask the guests leaving McCarran Airport what they remember most, and the answers are telling. The view was great until I saw the final bill. Vegas may be making money, but it's losing something priceless: trust. And when a city built on dreams starts losing trust, even the brightest neon can't hide the shadows.
It begins the moment they land. The heat of the desert hits the tarmac, and the skyline of the Strip rises in the distance. A mirage of promise. Visitors arrive expecting glamour, thrill, and indulgence. But for many, what they find instead feels strangely hollow. On travel forums and TikTok videos, a new kind of Vegas review is going viral. Not about jackpots or unforgettable nights, but about regret. One traveler summed it up bluntly. Vegas used to make you feel rich, even when you weren't. Now it makes you feel broke, even when you are. That single sentence captures the mood of an entire generation of disappointed visitors. Couples who came for a spontaneous getaway now describe a city overrun by fees and understaffed hotels. We paid $400 a night at a 5-star, but had to wait 45 minutes just to check in, and nobody smiled once. Others complain that the city's soul has faded behind corporate polish. The old Vegas, the place of risk, charm, and human touch, has been replaced by something sterile. Everything feels prepackaged, a visitor from London said. The shows are still big, but they feel predictable. The fun feels scheduled. Even longtime regulars, people who once visited 3 or 4 times a year, are quietly walking away. Some now choose Laughlin, Reno, or tribal casinos in Arizona. Others trade the Strip for experiences abroad, Bali, Mexico, even cruise ships. Because when people pay premium prices, they expect premium memories. Instead, they're getting a spreadsheet of surcharges. And it's not just about money, it's about emotion.
Vegas once made people feel something, a rush, a rebellion, a sense of escape. You could be anyone for a weekend. But as corporate Vegas tightened its grip, the spontaneity died. You no longer stumble upon a hidden blackjack table or a bartender who remembers your name. You follow a digital map, scan a QR code, and watch the magic turn into a transaction. Social media, once Vegas's biggest ally, is now exposing the cracks. Influencers post glossy videos, but the comment sections tell another story. Looks amazing, but not worth the money. Used to love it there, never again. Vegas is pricing itself out of fun. The Strip has always been a stage, and right now the audience is booing quietly. Still, there's a haunting paradox. For every traveler who swears never to return, another one books a flight, hoping this time will be different. Because no matter how disappointing it becomes, Vegas still whispers one dangerous promise. Next time, you'll win. That illusion keeps the lights on, but illusions, like luck, don't last forever.
For decades, the Strip has been Las Vegas's golden mile, a glittering runway of towers, fountains, and fame. It's the part of the city everyone recognizes, the image printed on postcards and movie screens. But venture a few miles north, and you'll find a different Vegas, one that feels more real, more human, and for many travelers, far more worth it. Welcome to downtown Las Vegas. Once forgotten, now quietly fighting back. At first glance, it's smaller, older, rougher around the edges. But look closer and you'll notice something the Strip lost long ago: character. The Fremont Street experience, with its canopy of neon lights and live music, costs nothing to enjoy. Drinks are half the price. Street performers still earn applause instead of corporate approval. It's chaotic, unpolished, but alive. In 2025, downtown is becoming the unexpected refuge for travelers tired of being nickel and dimed. Boutique hotels like the Circa, the Downtown Grand, and the renovated El Cortez are thriving on a simple promise: fair prices and real hospitality. Guests pay what they see, not what's hidden in the fine print, and the reviews show it. Quote, "Better vibe, better service, better value, and no $50 resort fee." End quote. Meanwhile, the Strip continues to inflate. Mega resorts advertise $99 rooms that become $250 after taxes and add-ons. A cocktail costs as much as an entire dinner in downtown. Even entertainment is shifting, with many younger tourists preferring indie music venues and art spaces near Fremont East over the glitzy, overproduced residencies of the Strip. The contrast is almost poetic. On the Strip, you get marble floors, robotic check-in, and $30 mimosas. In downtown, you get worn carpet, a bartender who remembers your name, and a genuine laugh with your dealer. And for a growing number of visitors, that authenticity is priceless. Locals are noticing the shift too. Property investors and small business owners are betting on the area, transforming abandoned motels into retro-chic stays and turning alleys into open-air galleries. Fremont East now hums with energy, a blend of locals, artists, and travelers chasing the Vegas that once was. It's a cultural rebellion in real time. The Strip represents corporate Vegas, glossy, efficient, and soulless. Downtown represents original Vegas, flawed, unpredictable, and human. In a city built on illusion, downtown is starting to look like the last place that still feels real. But here's the irony. As downtown rises, it faces its own risk. Developers are already circling, eager to modernize it the same way they did the Strip. If history repeats itself, the cycle of overpricing could start all over again. But for now, though, downtown remains the answer to the question millions are asking: where's the real Vegas value?
For most tourists, Las Vegas is a weekend. A blur of lights, laughter, and losses forgotten by Monday morning. But for locals, it's home. And in 2025, home feels less like a jackpot and more like a gamble they never signed up for. Vegas used to take care of its own, says Maria, a cocktail waitress who's been serving drinks on the Strip for 18 years.
You worked hard, you made good tips, and you could raise a family. Now, even with 2 jobs, I'm barely keeping up with rent. Her story isn't rare. Behind the glitz of billion-dollar resorts, everyday life has become brutally expensive. The same economic engine that once lifted working-class families into stability is now pricing them out. Apartment rents in Clark County have jumped 40% since 2019. Grocery prices have soared. And while the casinos post record profits, wages haven't kept up. Even small business owners are feeling the squeeze. People think Vegas is rich, says Tony, who runs a diner just off Flamingo Road. But the only ones getting rich are the corporations. Locals don't go to the Strip anymore. It's not for us. That divide between the Vegas of visitors and the Vegas of residents has never been wider. The Strip exists in its own bubble. Tourists spending $500 on a bottle of champagne, while a few miles away, a single mother skips meals to pay her utility bill. For decades, Vegas was proud of its blue-collar glamour, a city built by service workers, dealers, dancers, and dreamers. People came here not just to visit, but to belong. That pride is fading now, replaced by fatigue and quiet resentment. The city that once promised opportunity now feels like it's built for someone else. Even the culture is shifting. Locals used to hit the casinos after work, grab cheap late-night meals, or catch a free lounge act. Those small pleasures have vanished, replaced by exclusivity. You can't even park for free anymore, one taxi driver laughed bitterly. Imagine that, charging locals to visit their own city. Still, many hold on to hope. Vegas has reinvented itself before, from mob town to mega resort empire. Maybe it can do it again, this time for the people who live here. Because if the soul of Vegas lies anywhere, it's not in the marble halls of the Strip. It's in the hands that deal the cards, pour the drinks, and keep the lights shining long after the tourists are gone.
Every empire faces a moment of reckoning, and for Las Vegas, that moment is now. The Strip has survived recessions, scandals, and even a pandemic, but what it's facing today is deeper. An erosion of trust, of excitement, of value. Vegas doesn't just need to attract visitors again, it needs to win back their hearts. So how does a city built on illusion rediscover authenticity? The first step is simple: transparency. Hidden fees have become the city's most toxic brand. Tourists don't mind paying for luxury, but they hate being tricked. If Vegas truly wants to rebuild loyalty, it must abandon the fine print and embrace honesty. A $200 room should be $200, not $350 after taxes, fees, and mandatory upgrades. Transparency doesn't just restore fairness, it restores dignity. Next comes accessibility. Vegas once thrived because it made ordinary people feel extraordinary. That meant affordable entertainment, value buffets, and low-stakes gaming where anyone could join the fun. Bringing back mid-tier options, not just ultra-luxury shows or high-limit tables, would reconnect the city to its roots. Then there's local investment. For too long, Vegas has catered to outsiders at the expense of its own. Affordable housing, better public transit, and incentives for small businesses could re-energize the local community. A city cannot survive on tourists alone. It needs residents who feel proud, not priced out. And perhaps most importantly, human connection. The charm of old Vegas wasn't in marble lobbies or LED ceilings. It was in people. The bellhop who cracked a joke, the dealer who remembered your lucky number, the waitress who made you feel seen. In its obsession with automation and efficiency, modern Vegas has lost its warmth. To feel alive again, it must bring back that human magic. Some resorts are already experimenting. Circa Downtown reintroduced real dealers at tables after complaints about electronic ones.
The Venetian is offering packages with no resort fees. Even MGM, under pressure, is testing a transparent pricing model for select properties. Small steps, but steps in the right direction. The global competition is fierce. Dubai, Singapore, Macau all offer luxury, spectacle, and gaming. What they don't have is Vegas's story, that mythic blend of rebellion, freedom, and risk. If the city can rediscover that essence, not through marketing slogans, but through genuine experience, it can rise again. Because Vegas doesn't need to be the cheapest or the richest city on earth. It just needs to feel worth it again. If it does nothing, the glow will fade slowly, not with an explosion, but with quiet indifference. Tourists will stop returning, locals will keep leaving, and one day, the city that never slept will wake up to find itself empty. But if it changes, if it remembers who it used to be, then maybe, just maybe, the house doesn't always have to win.
As the desert sun dips behind the mountains and the strip lights begin to pulse again, Las Vegas looks, at least from afar, exactly the same. The fountains still dance, the billboards still shimmer, the city still sells the dream of endless nights and impossible luck. But when you get close, you start to see the cracks in the neon. The smiles feel thinner, the crowds move slower. And that old sense of wonder, the one that once made people believe anything could happen here, flickers like a dying bulb. Vegas has always been a mirror of America, bold, restless, and addicted to reinvention. In the 1950s, it was glamour. In the 80s, it was excess. After 2008, it became resilience. But in 2025, its identity feels uncertain. What do you become when the fun costs too much to feel free? For some, Vegas is still magic. The music, the shows, the thrill of the first night on the strip, they still hit hard. And maybe that's enough. Maybe a city doesn't need to be cheap to be valuable. It just needs to make you feel alive. But more and more, visitors are realizing that feeling has a price tag, and the math no longer works. When people start calculating instead of dreaming, the illusion breaks. Yet hope lingers in the shadows of downtown, in the laughter spilling from a Fremont dive bar, in the stories of locals who still believe in the city's heart, in the small acts of hospitality that remind you Vegas was built by people, not corporations. So is Vegas still worth it? Maybe that depends on what you're looking for. If you come for the fantasy, you'll find it, but you'll pay for it. If you come for authenticity, you might need to wander off the strip to find the soul that wants to find this desert paradise. Las Vegas will never truly die. It will morph, glitter, and gamble its way into every new decade. But the question that echoes through the neon tonight isn't about the money. It's about meaning. When everything has a price, what is Vegas really worth anymore?